We traveled to Iceland hardly knowing anything about the history of this barren country. During our exploration of Iceland, a lot of its history became clearer to us. Iceland is considered to be part of Scandinavia by many sources. The language has similarities with Scandinavian languages, but also has many words that relate to English and even Dutch. All of this made us curious about the history of Iceland and of the influence of the volcanic activity on human settlements. Ice and snow made human settlement difficult, but also added to the attractiveness of Iceland. The many glaciers softened the crude landscapes. The ferry takes our Milady Landy and us from Denmark via the Faroe Islands to Iceland. This is a very comfortable way of transport if you can stand the waves. In the 9th century, Vikings also sailed the ocean. They sailed from northern Norway to Denmark, the British Islands and other countries in northern and middle Europe. Did some of them get lost? Or, as we heard, did some of them get banned for crimes committed? We don't know. But what we do know is that around 850 AD, a Viking called Nedod left his home and family in Norway. He rigged his ship, loaded it with supplies, and set sail to the west. Weeks later, he landed on this rugged and barren island and stayed for 2 winters. Did he call this island Iceland? That is unlikely. The island was very green in summer and friendly to this first visitor. The climate was much milder then. Only much later, during the Small Ice Age, snow started falling much more frequently and the glaciers started to grow with ice. When he returned to Norway, Nedod told his tribe about this beautiful but rugged island he discovered. More people sailed west. Supposedly, many didn't make it in the rough ocean. But others managed to take sheep, goats, horses and even reindeer to Iceland. The ancestors of these animals are still present. Many volcanic eruptions took place in the course of the centuries. Some volcanoes erupt with a regular interval, others erupt suddenly, leaving the inhabitants with great distress. Sometimes people were killed or sadly lost all of their properties. In many places in Iceland, though, volcanic activity had great advantages. Hot water springs from the ground all over the island, and during history, settlers have learned how to use this heat for their households and industries. Moreover, the volcanic hot water sources add beauty to the landscape. Nowadays, most houses are heated with free, hot geothermal water. And a lot of electricity is generated from geothermal sources, apart from hydropower and wind energy. Iceland is a very sustainable country. Iceland, being Iceland, is covered in ice and snow during many months of the year. In wintertime, the climate doesn't invite for outdoor activities. It is therefore likely that also in history the settlers did agricultural activities during summer and went fishing during winter. Settlements therefore took place in coastal areas with easy access to the ocean. Even nowadays, most cities and communities are somewhat related to the fjords and harbors. Some areas are closed off during winter time because snowfall makes transport impossible. We experience this snowfall still in March and April. But people tell us that even in June and midsummer, snow may disrupt traffic heavily. In some places, meters of snow fall during winter, and the great glaciers in the south of the island contain hundreds of meters of ice. The glaciers are impressive. They lay on top of the crude landscapes and add an extraterrestrial layer of beauty. The vast plain of snow and ice doesn't invite the unprepared visitor, yet it magnetically attracts our adventurous spirits. Walking a glacier is another experience. We keep in mind the early settlers who had to explore more inland to track their cattle and sometimes also found themselves on a glacier. At the glacier tips, clean water melts and icebergs float in the moraines. The ice even floats into the sea and forms ice diamonds on the black beaches. A very special phenomenon are the ice caves that are formed at the glacier tips. Historic Icelandic tales tell that trolls used to live in these caves. The sheer beauty of the ice cave is indescribable. The images tell their own story.